Swinging in, and it is a fair ball, and Wayzata wins it. Champlin Park back to state for the third straight year.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Sports Jam. I'm John Jacobson.
And I'm Jay Wilcox. This week on the show, we take a look back at some of our favorite Sports Jam spotlight stories from the winter. We met some great young people, and these are their stories.
Let's start with a look at one of the state's best prep boys basketball players from this past season. Hopkins was among the top teams in Minnesota. And in this spotlight story from early March, we met one of the Royals' senior leaders. He moves well for a big man. At 6'11", Hopkins' Zeke Najee is athletic with great footwork and shooting touch around the basket.
Hop down low, Najee for two.
I do a lot of jump hooks and stuff before, like, just to warm up. I just do jump hooks, right, left, close range shots like that. And yeah, I mean, that helps me my touch around the paint, and I gradually work it back when I'm warming up, and that helps me with that touch in my shot.
He is averaging 24 points and over 9 rebounds per game for the top-ranked team in Class 4A. His coaches say Zeke worked hard in practice and has made big strides in his game from a year ago.
He's getting stronger. His footwork has gotten a lot better. He's increased his intensity, which as a team we really have to work on, but he's done a better job with that. I think his hands have gotten better, but just his footwork, understanding the game, trying to understand space, he's gotten better. He's become smarter.
During this offseason, I worked a lot, getting stronger, working on ball handling, working on my guard skills, all that kind of stuff, and just trying to get an all-around game. So I think that definitely this offseason helped a lot in my development. Play with a great organization in D1 Minnesota, play against some of the best competition across the country. And I think that seeing what it takes to be the best has helped me a lot and elevated my game.
Najee.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, and Zimmer able to finish on the rebound.
Though he's putting up big numbers in the box score, he doesn't consider his own statistics that important.
I want to have numbers that I'm trying to look forward to get. I just think that whatever comes within the flow of the game, and I'm not trying to force too much, you know. If my team needs me to score less, then I'll do that. But if my team needs me to start scoring more, I'll do that. Just whatever the team needs, you know.
There's no easier shot in basketball than a dunk, right?
Najee puts it on the deck and explodes to the basket for the dunk.
Zeke averages multiple dunks per game.
It's just 2 points, but I mean, it's more than 2 points. You know, like it's a momentum swing. It's intimidating to the other opponents. It just gives you a little juice, you know.
Next year, Zeke will leave long winters behind and take his basketball talents to the University of Arizona. This 3.7 GPA student said the school's academics definitely factored into his decision.
Part of it was the business school because I want to major in finance. I could get into business school right away. I've been accepted into there. Recruiting class is great. I really trust the coaches, and I like the role that they had me playing at.
When Zeke has some free time away from basketball, school, and homework, and he admits there isn't much of that, there is another passion waiting for him. How many 6'11" Division I basketball recruits are concert pianists? Zeke is an accomplished player, having taken piano lessons since age 6.
I started first grade. I really liked it, and they kept having me play and practice and stuff, and I enjoyed it. Now I outgrew the piano teacher though, but I compose my own music and I still play and stuff like that. So
Zeke enjoys a number of music genres and also composes his own music. He admits it's a good way for him to relax.
It's great. I mean, it's just a time I can just, you know, let loose and just kind of create and do whatever I want. Just like, it's time to kind of think, to meditate. It's kind of meditative in a way.
But before he takes his basketball and music talents to Arizona, Zeke Najee and his Hopkins teammates have one goal left unchecked. Make that 2, a section championship and a state championship. The Royals have been eliminated by Wayzata in the Section 6 final 2 years in a row.
That's the main focus right now. Not looking ahead to college quite yet. Still working on this championship here at home, and I mean, I'll do whatever it takes to win. Whether I need to get 20 rebounds or 20 assists or whatever it takes, you know, I'll do the job for my team. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the championship.
Zeke and the Royals went on to defeat Wayzata in the Section 6 final and then capped off a remarkable season with state tournament wins over Cambridge Isanti, Eastridge, and Lakeville North as Hopkins won its 10th state championship. And the music you heard under the story there was all Zeke on the piano.
The Park Center boys basketball team won the Section 5 4A tournament in triple overtime over Champlain Park and went on to place third in the Class 4A tournament. Early in the season, we met the Pirates' Energizer point guard, Emmanuel Tamba. Emmanuel Tamba is the type of guy any coach wants on the team. The Park Center senior is in his 4th varsity basketball season. He probably won't lead the Pirates in scoring often, but Tamba does a little bit of everything and has learned a lot from freshman year until now.
I would say I'm more patient, and I understand that, scoring isn't everything. I'm one of the guys on the team, who don't mind doing the dirty work, diving on the floors, jump balls, stuff like that. So we all know our roles, and I know my role real well. And I think that's what makes us that's what made us good last year, and I think that's really going to take us a little bit further this year. So I would say my biggest strength, defensing and slashing to the hoop. And what I could work on is, shooting. You can always work on shooting, but I pride myself off of defense, so more of an energy guy.
Hearing and talking about what he's brought to the program kind of naturally starts making me think about life without him, and that's when I start getting a little nervous because he's meant everything to this program. He from day one has kind of embodied what we want Park Center Pirates to be. He's super unselfish, super responsible, on and off the court. And on the court, he's a winner.
Park Center's been on a steady rise the past few seasons. They had a great 24-win season last winter, but a section final loss to rival Osseo left them feeling empty at the end of the season. So the past success isn't something Emmanuel dwells on as they start a promising season.
It's something we acknowledge, but our goal is to strive and get better each and every year. So last year was great. Now we got to prove that we're a better team than we were last year.
Park Center was state runner-up in 2013, but when Emmanuel and his senior teammates, including Tommy Chapman and Kahari Broadway, were entering high school, the program had a tough stretch. He never considered playing elsewhere, though.
We had this kind of figured out, we have a good team. We had a good team in elementary. We won state in grade school, and we're like, if we keep on going on this track, why not win state in high school,
Emmanuel's also a good student and found a new way to be more involved with his school.
I'm in Link Crew. It's a leadership class we have here at Park Center where we go around, help freshmen, talk to freshmen, answer questions they have, stuff like that. So I'm really proud of that. So I'm glad one of my teachers got me into that.
Park Center's football program hasn't had the same level of success as the boys' basketball team. And here comes Tamba showing off the speed. That hasn't stopped speedy running back Tamba from excelling. He racked up 1,200 all-purpose yards this fall despite missing a couple of games with an injury.
I loved every minute. It's been frustrating, the last 3 seasons that I've played, but, I've enjoyed building relationships with coaches and our players, so it was fun. I've actually started football earlier than I did basketball. I think 1st grade or 2nd grade, and I started basketball, I think 3rd grade. And football's always been my first love, but I ended up taking a year off my freshman year because, I wanted to pursue basketball more, but now I realize, football's still probably my first love.
Man, just a lot of leadership, loyalty, worked hard. He was a guy who was in the gym in the summer, or in the weight room in the summer, and on the field, just trying to make guys better. When I implemented 9 or 11 practices in the summer, he not only was doing AAU basketball, he was at football. The kid is an ultimate leader, and I couldn't be more blessed to have coached him.
While he's getting some college interest in both sports, Emmanuel, who intends to study engineering, is leaning toward the gridiron.
I plan on playing football in college, so I don't know where yet. Wherever that takes me, whatever college I land at, I'll be happy to play at, but I'm undecided right now.
He's got plenty of skill and heart, and one other thing that's hard to miss, besides the goggles, is Emmanuel Tamba's big smile.
When you talk about his smile's infectious, and he does it a lot. He's a kid who he loves to compete because it's fun to him. And when he's smiling, I know things are going well because that means our team's playing well because he's so in tune with what everybody else is doing and how they're doing. He thinks about himself last.
Tomba played a key role in the Pirates section and state runs, playing his best basketball late in the season. He had 9 steals in Park Center's semifinal loss to Lakeville North. And John, a couple of pretty good players and a couple of pretty good leaders there.
Yeah, and 2 teams that would not have gotten as far as they did without Zeke and Emmanuel. Stay with us. Next up on the special Sports Jam, meet a record-setting wrestling champion, plus a standout hockey goalie. Totino Grace wrestler Jake Sveal was ranked #1 in the state in his weight class, and the 3-time state runner-up looked forward to this past winter to getting one more shot at that elusive state title. Here's Jason Malillo with this spotlight story from January.
32-pound.
Jake Sveal doesn't waste time on the wrestling mat.
A quick shot by Sveal.
Well, that didn't take long.
No, 3-second takedown.
I'm just like a high-pace offensive wrestler. I don't like to wrestle on the defense. It just kind of, I don't feel like myself.
It's a style that's serving him well. Sveal is undefeated this season and ranked #1 in the state at 120 pounds.
When you're pushing the pace that much, you're used to wrestling like that, so your conditioning is most likely better than every other. You have an advantage over conditioning on every other wrestler you wrestle.
Sveal started wrestling at 5 years old, often under the watchful eye of his father Doug, who's been the head coach at Totino Grace for 30 years. It wasn't always easy for Doug to get his young son to go to practice.
When I was little, I dread going to practice. Like once I got there, it was fun, but like I didn't want to go. And
when their buddies are out there playing in the yard or doing something else, you know, it's I don't really want. They got to stop and go to the practice. You know, they don't always like that. And then they get there and they're fine. So you got to grab them by the earlobe once in a while.
I'm kind of glad he did, because now it kind of installed in myself where I'm like, even if I don't want to go, it's like 90% of the time you don't want to end up going to do something. You got to go and do it though. So that's what's going to help me become a better wrestler. So
I've been very fortunate. It's been ingrained in him, and it's in him to wrestle hard and practice hard no matter what. I mean, he does not take shortcuts, and he goes out there and he trains hard. He trains, you know, he's training as hard as, if not harder than anybody.
Sveal wrestles year-round and is ranked in the top 10 nationally by several polls. Last year, Sveal won the USA Wrestling Folk Style National title at 120 pounds, and the experience of facing elite opponents has been invaluable to Sveal's progression.
I feel like I wrestle better when I'm wrestling a tough wrestler, and I get more out of it. And to me, it's not about it is about winning, but if I lose, it's more of like a learning experience. So my goal isn't to win every match. My goal is to get better every match.
Kind of the motto is, I got to find you a loss, you know, and we've been able to find him a loss here and there. But, you know, the thing about it is that he learns then to take it as any other opponent. He just wants to wrestle the best. He just wants to wrestle as hard and score points, and I think that's what, you know, he doesn't get nervous when it comes to the big stage.
For everything Sveal has accomplished as a high school wrestler, a state title has eluded him. Sveal has lost in the championship match 3 years in a row.
Last year was probably the toughest year, because it was like my 3rd time I was winning in the match. I blew the lead. He's a great wrestler. Now it just kind of drives me. I'm not like going into the season, I'm not hyper focused on the state title. It's a lot easier on me. I think it takes off a lot more pressure. So I don't feel like I've got, people might think that I've got a lot of pressure going into my 4th state title, but I don't have as much pressure because I'm a lot more lighthearted on myself this year.
State title or not, Jake Sveal's time as a high school wrestler will come to an end soon, but his journey as a student athlete will continue at the University of Wyoming.
I had a lot of different schools to choose between, and I liked them all. But I think the main thing was the coaches. I liked the coaches right off the bat. They seemed really transparent with me. All the people that I met, they seemed like they were hardworking dudes. Their minds were all on the same path. They all had the same goal.
Well, Jake's hard work paid off. The senior capped off his high school career with a state Class AA individual title, defeating Mitchell Peterson of Byron 7-3 in the final. The senior went through the season without a loss. So great way to cap his career, and I'm sure, although he said it wasn't a lot of pressure on him, he loved that moment of being a state champion.
I don't think there's much doubt that it made it more special, the fact that he'd been so close and not won the previous couple of years. I mean, that definitely was a great moment for him and for their program too. Next up, we meet a Wayzata girls basketball player who has made a big difference in her school. The Wayzata girls basketball team had one of its best seasons ever, with its only 3 losses to eventual state champion Hopkins. We met the Trojans' mainstay at point guard, who had an impressive career on and off the court. She might be the best player, who's averaging just 5 points per game in the state.
Knocked away now. Schrader has Smiley with her, and Smiley will get an easy 2.
Wayzata's 5th-year starter Mimi Schrader is all about setting up her teammates.
Growing up, I've always been a pass-first point guard, sometimes to a fault, but that's just kind of how I've played my game, and I like seeing my teammates succeed just as much as myself, so that's just kind of how I've always played the game.
Not surprisingly, that makes Mimi a popular teammate, but it goes way beyond her fondness for sharing the ball.
She's the best. She, on the court, she's such a leader. She's kind of, been a captain for the last couple of years, so she really brings the team together. And obviously she's an amazing point guard, but then also off the court, she volunteers with the younger teams and is super great there. And I think everyone just really looks up to Mimi.
She's been a great help to me, especially because coming in as a freshman, I don't really know, a lot of people don't know the plays, don't know anything. She's kind of just been like a mentor to me. She's been there for me whenever I needed it, whether it's basketball or school or anything in between. She's been a really good teammate in person to me, and I really appreciate her. I know we'll miss her a ton next year.
Schrader's certainly someone her teammates look up to, and she's okay with that.
I would hope I'm a role model. I mean, I kind of live my life through my actions and hope that people just see what I'm doing and maybe try to do something like that or aspire to be like that. So, it would be cool if people called me their role model. I don't know if they do.
It's been a very good season for Schrader and the Trojans. She's not ready to call it a great season just yet.
It's been a very fun start. Our scores have been, our record is pretty good, but it's just been really fun. I'm just trying to embrace the senior year and, go out on a high note.
Schrader able to get the steal. Next year, Mimi will continue her basketball career at the U.S. Naval Academy.
I have always lived my life in service, and I think that this is the ultimate way of service. The Naval Academy is a place to grow in leadership, discipline, academics, and also athletics. And so I'm really hoping to grow there, and I just think that it's a place that it's not describable. When I went there, I fell in love with it, and I'm so excited to go there.
Mimi Schrader's made headlines and left a big impression on the Wayzata girls basketball program. Maybe even more impressive, though, is the mark she's left on her school.
I started a unified club called Club Osseo at this school, which is composed of both special education and general education students, and I would say that is the biggest thing that I hope to leave at this school, just because I've seen so many people's lives change from just those small interactions of hanging out on the weekends and going to movies, going to holiday parties, and so I've seen our school atmosphere change. Kids who used to be sitting by themselves in the lunchroom are now eating with their new friends, and so I think that's something that I really hold close to my heart, and I hope that that will continue to grow even after I graduate.
She will be one of the very best to play here as a guard in our program, but what she's done for this school is even more amazing. She's choosing a service academy for a reason. That's what she's about. If you ask, kids from every walk of life in this school, if they know Mimi, they'll say yes. And what she'll do to make someone's day, what she'll do to pick somebody up, she is a leader through and through, and she leads through example. She leads through service. She's a remarkable young lady.
If we have the ball, they're not scoring.
Along with teammate Callie Tyson, Schrader was selected for the Minnesota All-Star Girls Basketball Series.
And best of luck to Mimi at the Naval Academy.
Yeah, she seems like the type of person that'll do well in whatever she chooses in life. Next up, meet a hockey goalie who helped lead Maple Grove to a strong season.
Maple Grove senior Lucy Morgan backstopped the Crimson to the Section 5 AA girls hockey title and was a finalist for Goalie of the Year. Here again is Jason Malillo.
Coming into the 2017-18 high school hockey season, Maple Grove was looking for a new starting goalie.
When Coco and Bree left, those were going to be some big shoes to fill, and we felt at that time that both of our young goaltenders would have battled and would have been able to hold us in some games and continue to grow and develop. But then Lucy coming into Maple Grove allowed us to have just somebody who was going to be solid day in and day out and again give us an opportunity to win.
Lucy Morgan moved to Maple Grove in the summer of 2017. She grew up in Mandan, North Dakota and had a passion for hockey from a young age. Morgan split her time between goalie and forward, but eventually became a full-time netminder.
My team wasn't as good as other teams or not as competitive, so we would either lose 6-0 or when I was in net it would be a closer game, and I just like to compete and I like to be out there all the time. When I was a player and I was sitting on the bench, it just was frustrating when you get scored on.
Youth hockey in North Dakota isn't on the same level as Minnesota, and Morgan often played in boys' leagues to challenge herself.
That's how I feel like how I was able to come into this program and play. If I didn't play with the boys in North Dakota, I don't think I would be the goalie at Maple Grove right now.
Facing arguably the best high school players in the country here in Minnesota has made Morgan better, and college hockey programs are showing interest.
I've been talking to some D1 schools, yeah. I feel like since I moved here, that's kind of like helped me recruiting-wise, but it's not as good as the people that were born and raised here. They got recruited a lot sooner than I did, which is fine. Like, it doesn't really matter to me.
College hockey is probably in Lucy Morgan's future. For now, though, she's grateful to be between the pipes for the Crimson and honored to be a finalist for Goalie of the Year.
I remember back when I was, in middle school or back in North Dakota, I just remember getting those newspapers, those Minnesota newspapers that would be at the hockey store, and I'd read them, and I would just look at the finalists, and I was like, oh, I thought that never could be me, but now it's actually me, and I'm super grateful for that opportunity.
Maple Grove lost to Minnetonka in the state Class 2A quarterfinals, but bounced back to defeat East Ridge and Farmington to win the consolation title with Lucy in goal all 3 games. Well, that will do it for this week's show.
It's been fun taking a look back at our favorite winter stories, and we're going to be hitting the spring full season coming up in just a bit. See you then.
What makes your community feel like home? Is it knowing what's happening in your neighborhood? Or when people know your name? Connections make us a community. For more than 30 years, Northwest Community Television has connected citizens, neighbors, even sports fans through video. You can learn about the latest news through our truly local newscast. We cover and air around 150 high school sporting events every year. For our cities, we air parades and city meetings that you can watch whenever you want. Then, any citizen of our cities can create and share their own original content. We'll even teach you how to use the equipment too. We have always provided you with a connected community experience, and as life gets busier than ever, we will continue to engage, inform, and inspire through CCX Media, so you can stay connected to the place you call home.
Don't miss the District 279 and Investment and Youth Awards on Sunday, May 5th at Park Center High School. Find out more at ccxmedia.org under Cities and in the Community.
Looking for local? Even more local? CCX Media gives you the option to connect with your community on multiple levels. CCX Sports brings you ultimate coverage in local prep sports with full game coverage of over 120 high school games a year with highlights and features on our daily newscast. Then, our weekly Sports Jam show gives you a close-up look at local athletes, highlights of local games, and in-depth interviews. Our content can be watched at home or on the go. Visit ccxmedia.org.